I'm Ashley Nickell. I'm the head of marketing at Grocery TV. Today we're at the Brand Innovator Summit at GroupM, and I have the opportunity to speak with Shelly Huang, who's the VP of marketing at NotCo. Shelly, can you tell us a little bit more about your role in NotCo?
Of course. Hi, everyone. I am Shelly Huang, the VP of Marketing at NotCo. NotCo is a food tech plant-based company playing in the CPG world. So you can find us at Whole Foods, Sprouts, and regional retailers such as Meijer, Albertsons, and also on Amazon. We make products like Not Milk, Not Chicken, Not Burger. We have a special joint venture with Kraft Heinz where we make plant-based versions of the iconic Kraft brands such as Not Mayo and Not Cheese.
Awesome. Thanks for providing that context. I imagine there are a lot of differences between how an emerging and established brand approaches their marketing strategy. For an emerging brand, obviously you're trying to break into certain markets or drive adoption. Can you shed some light on NotCo's strategy?
Yes, so as an emerging brand, you don't have the large budgets of the traditional CPGs who already have decades of established distribution. And so the game you're trying to play is to disrupt and also to catch up. And it's quite challenging because oftentimes you're concurrently looking to partner with retailers so that you can ramp up your distribution, but also building the brand affinity with the consumers who would eventually be consuming your product. And so what we have found is that you need to be looking at all pieces of the puzzle and kind of like hunting in a way where you're grabbing whatever opportunity you can. And maybe you're not hunting like the biggest elk or the moose, but maybe you're hunting like the prized special fox, or something like that. And so you really have to be careful about like the media that you choose. So I know a lot of, we've been having a lot of discussions around media. And so the types of media that you select has to be very purposeful. So whereas a bigger brand may have a holistic 360 strategy along maybe 10 different touch points or channels, we need to be thinking about what are the 2 to 3 channels that we really want to double down on. And you have to do a lot of research into where your competitors are playing. And I always say, like, if they zig, we zag. And so if they're playing in, doubling down in linear TV, then we go CTV. If they're going big in Meta, then we go TikTok. And so that's kind of like where you can get the best bang for your buck for your media dollars.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. You have to be a lot more thoughtful with your media spend. And along that topic of media efficiency, I know from our conversations that your team is very hands-on with the channels that they select. I also imagine that a big part of this is measurement and understanding what the results are. Could you share a bit more about the types of KPIs that you look at, or just how you guys think about measurement? Yeah. I know you guys are like layering channels as well, so just curious to hear more about that.
Yeah, so I'll give an example of how we look at measurement. Coming from the D2C world, it is quite different when you're a retailer brand and you can't really see the direct attribution of your sales. And so what we try to look at is a couple of different pieces of the puzzle to find out what the story really is. So beyond just looking at the impressions or the engagement, sometimes we'll also look at, for example, what's the hook rate and what's the video completion rate. So if you're looking at a campaign or a creative that has a really bad hook rate, but a really great video completion rate, what that tells me is that the people who have seen it are interested enough to view it all the way till the end. So you actually don't have a bad creative. What you might be doing is targeting the wrong set of consumers. And so a lot of times people will scrap this campaign or scrap the creative because they're like, oh, the hook rate is terrible. We need to switch this out and A/B test a different set of creatives. But that's oftentimes not the case. And so this is kind of how we want to make sure that we're looking at all aspects of the measurement. In terms of layering, we're also looking at not just online, but also a lot of like offline channels and how these channels play together. So in store, we might have a lot of shopper marketing campaigns from a freezer cling standpoint, or like a shelf talker, or like a temporary price reduction. But then we also want to make sure that we're looking at other aspects such as bolstering search. So understanding that a consumer is not just going into the store and deciding that minute, I'm going to buy this packaging. Sometimes they are, but oftentimes they are doing the research beforehand, and they're looking up and learning about brands, and reading up reviews on what tastes good and what doesn't. And so reviews matter a lot, search matters a lot, and just kind of like being top of mind, and people saying like, I heard someone, perhaps an influencer, or perhaps like a friend or family member talking about it. Like, all of that matters in these kind of like the pre-sale moment.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. We've talked about media efficiency. In our conversations earlier, we also talked about just being a nimble team, being a smaller brand. So it's kind of hard to talk about efficiency and not bring up AI. So I'm curious from your perspective, if there are certain ways that you guys are leveraging AI, either from like an internal team perspective or, in some of the campaigns that you're doing.
Yeah, of course. This is a great topic because our company is built around an algorithm called Giuseppe, and so the whole reason for being for NotCo kind of centered around the birth of Giuseppe. And so Giuseppe is our what we call our Chat GPT for food. It is an AI algorithm that analyzes the plant attributes down to the molecular level, and so Giuseppe knows like every single attribute of like the ingredient dill, or like the carrot ingredient. And what Giuseppe can do is it helps us and other CPG companies that we partner with drastically shorten the time of innovation, because we can find out from Giuseppe the various combinations of plants that we can put together in our R&D process to replicate an animal product. So what does lamb taste like? And you're looking at the molecular level of everything from how does it smell, what is the texture, what are the tastes, and what are like the cues that make a consumer's brain think that it is lamb, for example. So that's been a key cornerstone of like what fuels our research internally and our product development. Aside from that, we know that there's a lot of like AI tools that help marketers out there, and my team has started to dabble and adopt a lot of workflows and a lot of like content, creative inspiration, ideation generators. We haven't really found the kind of like the silver bullet for giving us like all the answers, but I do think like that is the beauty of AI. Like you need to work with AI, and it's a combination of like the human brain along with like the efficiency of AI that creates that efficiency and that productivity for everyone.
Yeah, that makes sense. I feel like AI is definitely kind of an art and a science. We're still at a point where you kind of need to have, some sort of involvement in it, but it can drastically improve the efficiency of your team. Last question, the plant-based sector is growing substantially. NotCo seems like they're in a great position to capture this growth. So what are the key levers that you're thinking about in terms of growing adoption in the next year or so?
Yeah, part of what we've been talking about a lot is building your core tribe, because there's a lot of discussion amongst the plant-based community around the types of consumers. So you have like the vegans, you have the vegetarians, you have the flexitarians. I'm not sure if you've heard of this term. And a lot of times people are talking about, oh, it's the flexitarians we want to go after because it is a larger segment of consumer, because obviously that includes people who are not just vegans, but vegan open. But I do think that one of the biggest mistakes that an emerging brand can make is that you try to cast your net too wide too quickly without having a very loyal fan base and really speaking to them and understanding what they care about and what they're going to resonate with. And so we've actually kind of really gone more back to the roots. We've really moved from targeting a wider net of flexitarians to focusing more actually on our very active vegan community, which is very drastic and a little bit controversial of an internal topic for us that we've been debating. And the reason is because we found that the people who are still engaging with us on the social media platforms, and as well as like the influencers, the segments that we're performing well with, these are the vegan advocates, and they're the ones who are really excited and really, really engaged with our product. We're also finding adjacent communities like allergy moms who are very passionate about advocating for their kids' dietary needs. And it's these like subgroups and subcultures that we really want to make sure that we're really building a strong foundation in before we continue to grow the customer base.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So your champions that will kind of vocalize your message to broader audiences potentially.
Correct.
And thank you, Shelly, for joining us today and sharing a little bit more about NotCo.
Thank you so much. It was really great chatting with you.